Hello, everyone. Uh, First of massive apologies. We'd scheduled a show tonight with Gert Pre and Florian Pills, which was a follow up from the video that came out on Audio Pills, the Bad Gear show last Friday. Um, and that was meant to be. We were going to have a chat about it tonight. We are going to do that. We're just going to have to reschedule it because Gert couldn't make it tonight. I've just had a little technical issue. I won't go into it and bore you with it, but I'll just have a little freeform chat, and hopefully we can grab some audience who was scheduled to come and join. I've ended the other stream. Issues. I think I'm definitely going to I'm going to look into using one of these stream packages and paying for it. I think that's one of those lessons that you learn when you try and use things, the free versions of things, you know. Serves me right for being a cheapskate. But yeah, so I'm going to look at trying to do take the streaming game up a little bit and be a little bit more professional, because I'm really sorry. Too many times I've just had problems, technical problems that are just pathetic. I don't really want to go into the details too much, but yeah, I think I need a more premium service. Hello, hey, Asio Head. Hello, Culture of Ghosts. Sorry, I was gonna do a different show tonight, but anyway, I thought, well, what I'd do then is come online for a little bit and just talk about what's going to be happening over the next few weeks, because I've got quite a busy schedule. I'm going to try and capture aspects of this as a means to, I don't know, continue documenting a certain journey that I've been taking. Well, certainly regarding my Eurorack adventures. I've got a gig on the 27th of this month, September. Is it the Jazz Servant Quarters in London? And I'm performing with Steve Davis. And also on the bill is John Biddulph. And John is a terrific chap with a very long history with making electronic music. I think some of you might have seen him perform on one of the Sonic State coverage, I think, of the Cymru beats from a few years back. So that would be, so performing with John. Well, so we're not performing with John. Me and Steve are performing together, but sharing the stage with John. 27th of September. And then on the 30th of September, of course, is the big Bristol event in the music tech world, the Machina Bristronica, which I'm really excited about. That's going to be quite a coup to have in this city. There's a lot of manufacturers turning up. I think 120 or so, so enormous amount of people turning up for that. Not sure if there's any tickets left. I think last I heard it was very close to a sellout. Yeah, so that's going to be quite a cool event. I hope it becomes, well, and it's all intention for it to be a regular yearly event. I would like it to be more than a single day, though, and I think that will probably happen. But at the Machina event anyway, there's going to be talks all day, there's going to be performances all day. There's also, in this outside area, DivKid's going to be there, Ben, and he's going to be doing, like, I'm not entirely sure, but things like all day. So there's tons to do, and 120 different manufacturers there. So squeezing all of that into the day, I think, is going to be quite tough. However, brilliant. How cool is this? So that's happening on the 30th of September. Then what else is interesting? I'm going to be performing in Edinburgh at the Wavetable event. This is the Expert Sleepers event. That's on the 12th of October up in Edinburgh. And then I'm not sure yet if it's going to happen, but there's going to be something also happening, hopefully, in Glasgow on the 13th. So Friday the 13th in Glasgow. That sounds fun. So, oh yeah, on the 7th, I forgot, is another event, and that's Synth Fest, which takes place in Sheffield. And Synthfest is a completely different kind of event, although there's a little overlap. So the manufacturers are going to be going, some of them who are going to be in Bristol on the 30th, they're then going to be in Sheffield on the 7th. Synthfest is maybe, I would say it sort of appeals to an older demographic, I think, than maybe the Bristronica. And also, I think the Bristronica is heavily tilted towards modular. Whereas Synthfest, there is modular there, but it's equally a lot about vintage synths and some of the bigger manufacturers as well. Going to be covering Synthfest for Sonic State with Nick, of course. So that'll be fun. Hopefully, seeing some familiar faces up there, and I'm very curious. One of the things very curious about, are we going to see new product launches? Will there be new things showing at Bristronica? Will there be new things showing at Synthfest? It's not the normal time of year for things to be shown, but maybe. We know that IntelliGel have just released a bunch of new modules. I think in the modular world, stuff tends to come out all the time, really. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some new stuff there. Going to check in with hello everyone in the chat room. Hello, half god, half beast. Hello, Dilip. Yeah, nice. Thanks for joining. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so I was just going to have a brief chat just about some of the things that's going to be happening in my world, but also if you are in the UK or indeed coming into the UK for any of these events, so maybe see you there. I know that the Bristronica event, there's people coming from, certainly exhibitors coming from all over the place. So yeah, it's going to be a nice kind of melting pot there. Yeah, but playing with Steve Davis again, which is always a thrill. So me and Steve will be getting together over the next week or so to figure out how we're going to approach the next gig. I have actually got recorded our last gig, but I haven't put any of that up. That was on the rooftop in Cardiff from a few weeks ago. But this time we're going to try and see about doing something slightly different from the last time, because when we play together, it's always a voyage of discovery and improvisation. So just see which way we go. With the last time, we navigated between 4 different BPMs, 4 different tempos, and just made a continual piece of music that was only guided by the different tempos. So we might do that again, or maybe something new. Not quite sure yet, but I'm really excited about it. Obviously, Steve is Steve, and we all know who he is now. Obviously, he's an incredible. Wow, what an amazing guy with the most incredible history. But what I particularly enjoy when I collaborate with Steve, though, is he just wants to know more and expand his horizons, but also he's very instinctive, and it's really rewarding to make music with him. It's always really I think he's got exquisite taste. So that's going to be a pleasure. But yeah, let's see. So thank you if you're joining the live stream. Yeah. So just if you are just joining, if you are expecting this to be the chat with Florian Pills and Gert Pre, that's going to happen maybe next week. I will schedule it soon. We're going to have to just lock down the date. But yeah, that was a real shame that we couldn't do that today, but all is well. Needless to say, if you haven't seen the video that appeared on the Bad Gear channel, Audio Pills, from last Friday, that was focused on a visit to a synth museum that Florian and myself took last week. And that's an incredible adventure. I think the video is well worth watching, but there's many more things that happened that isn't in that video. But maybe watch out for the live stream when I get Florian and Gert on. Well, needless to say, though, that museum in Klagenfurt, yes, Klagenfurt, um, is somewhere that is totally worth visiting. I mean, it's not the most near to anywhere sort of place. Florian helpfully put some travel plans into the video, which I think is brilliant because it is in the most unbelievably picturesque and beautiful area. So there's plenty of justification for going to that part of the world anyway. But this place is magnificent, and yeah, it's I've never been to anything remotely like it. Anyway, I'm going to hold back on some of those and some of the anecdotes until we do the stream. But yeah, if you haven't watched the video on Bad Gear Audio Pills, please do, because you'll get an idea of it. Uh, Di Stanton got tickets for the 27th and the 30th. Come and say hello. Would be a long time. Nice to meet you properly. Let's just have a look at the lot things. The place we're talking about, hello Aquatic Borealis, is this synth museum, synth and organ museum, and actually it's perhaps, if it's called the E-board Museum, and I would say it's an organ and synthesizer museum, really, because the collection of organs there is absolutely outstanding, and I love organs. I'm really interested in organs, and from all over the decades, and there is just the most astounding collection of organs there that we will touch on some of that in Florian's video, but the scale of the place is huge, and yeah, and like some of these organs come in crazy shapes and sizes. Some of them look incredibly complex as well, that are just utterly festooned with controls that have no idea what they do. What part of the world is in Austria? It's in a place called Klagenfurt in Austria. I think the easiest way to get there is to fly to Slovenia, Ljubljana, and then I think it's about an hour or so drive from the airport. I think that's the easiest way to get there if you're coming in internationally. But it's in the Alps. It's in a glorious setting. It's beautiful. But yeah, so I wonder if I could play some videos to you. Just have a wonder, holiday videos. No, it wasn't really a holiday. It was a road trip. Me and Florian took this road trip. It's Florian's idea, and he asked me if I'd like to accompany him, and yes, absolutely. And we had a total amazing time. And Florian is somebody. He's an incredible person, and he is just so incredibly fast and intelligent, as you'd expect if you've seen his Bad Gear show. But yeah, spending a lot of very intense time with Florian was amazing, and he taught me a lot about the history of Austria and Austrian culture and the evolution of thoughts that have gone on in that part of the world. And yeah, fascinating stuff. That guy is amazing, and yes, he is very funny. Di Stanton saying, I sent you a chat, but just a reminder that there is a player Hammond in the musical museum in Brentford. I've always wanted to go to that place. Oh my god. So that's the museum of, is it like it's all kind of orchestrons and calliopes and those kind of things, and what we're talking about there is in the museum in Klagenfurt. There is a Hammond from 1938, and it's a player Hammond. And I didn't know that they'd made them, but Hammond only made them for a few years. No, for a few months. So it's very short-lived collaboration. And I thought it might be the only one left, but apparently not. There's one in Brentford, according to Di. Okay. Di says, I love Hammond. My back doesn't. Yeah. Hey, Andrew Brooks, he's saying he loved the vid with Florian. Really good stuff. It really is. Do you know what though? Florian is like a kind of he's like a machine. He's amazing. He's so fast. Like like we were there for 2 days. When I got back after the first day, we'd filmed up across both days. By the time I got up in the morning on the next day, Florian had pretty much edited all of the footage from the previous day. It's just like, wow. um, but really, when you see the Bad Gear show that's weekly and the amount of attention and editing and work that goes into them, it's really is quite remarkable. So, yeah. Hey, Synth Addict. Hey, Redworks. Great. I don't know if I've missed anyone to say hello to, but hello to one and all. Anto. Thank you for joining me. This is not what I'm meant to be doing tonight. Synchrotron. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I was going to have the guests from that video, Florian and Gert, but sadly Gert couldn't make it. He had a performance to do tonight, so always yields to playing live music for sure. But yeah, got some things coming up, and also there's a synthesizer, and here we go. This is a little riddle for you. See if you can work out what it is. There's a new synthesizer here, and it's one that I'm going to be making some videos about, probably live streams, I think. But I was possibly thinking about doing it tonight, but I want to spend more time with it before doing a stream with it. But I'm going to give you some clues, and we'll see who can guess what it is. Okay, so it's a synth. It's fairly new, but it's been out for maybe 2 years now. But what's happened over those 2 years is it's a digital synthesizer, okay? And over those 2 years, lots of firmware updates have come out, lots of new features, etc. So I feel it's quite, it's really sort of matured, in terms of being ready for the market. And it's a very, very odd, unusual approach to synthesis as well. Okay, that's your clues. So if anyone can guess what that could be, Hydrasynth? No, it's not. I give you. Well, here's a major clue. It doesn't have a keyboard attached to it, so it's like a module of sorts, but not. It's a desktop. It's a desktop unit. There we go. It's a desktop unit that's about 2 years old. Come on, I reckon someone's going to be Vector. Yes, Aquatic Borealis. Yeah, the Vector synth. Yeah. Okay, so the Vector synth from, I think the company is called, well, it doesn't say the name. I think Vector, what are they called? I should look into that. Because they've got a new granular synth that was announced at Super Booth coming out. That looks really good. But I thought that the Vector really does deserve another look, because now it's got its MPE support, which I think makes a lot of sense when you know what the Vector synth is, and the way that you can assign all of the unique expressive qualities of the Vector to an MPE kind of situation. I haven't done it yet with MPE. I think that's what I'd like to do though, and do a stream with an MPE setup. I think that's what I'll do. But I will be doing that fairly soon as well. But one thing that I've watched loads of videos on the Vector synth, as I'm sure many of you have, and there are great videos. Red Means Recording did a great one. Ben Jordan did a great one. Starsky Carr did a great one. So it's been well covered, but those videos are slightly old now, and it has come on since then. So I think it really does deserve another look. And my goodness, it really takes you to interesting sonic places. And yeah, my mind has been so preoccupied with modular that I've taken my eye off the ball a little bit when it comes to sort of desktop synths, feeling that the unique pathways and things that you experience through modular, that desktop units tend to be maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say conservative, but fixed in certain ways. But the Vector is not. The Vector is is like a lot of new ideas coming together. Anyway, so keep an eye out. I will be doing that shortly. Hey, Kent Spong. Oh, do you want to do a pub? I can call this show off, mate. I don't need to be doing this. No. Oh no, Kent's saying no. Kent's going no. Thank you, Kent. That's really kind of you. It's lovely to see you there. Haven't seen you for a while in person, but would certainly like to. I just saw that Rich Hilton has played the Tiny Desk concert with Chic, which I think is a real badge of honor these days, isn't it? The Tiny Desk concerts have just been, I don't know, for me, one of the most vital ways of getting to experience new music, but also to see artists working up close and personal. I think it's a fantastic way, especially if those artists are maybe more from heavily produced sort of backgrounds. The Tiny Desk concert sort of strips away things to the raw elements, and I think it's magic. So seeing Rich, do you know what I'm hoping is, for you, those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, Rich Hilton, is there anyone out there who doesn't? Come on, to be fair, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Is a long-term guest on Sonic Talks, on Sonic State's Sonic Talk podcast. Been on the show many times with Rich, and we've become proper great friends over the years, as he is to many of you. Anyway, you know, hats off to Rich Hilton. But I think what's going to be great about that Tiny Desk, I'm not sure if it's actually out yet, but I think you're going to be able to see how amazing a player Rich is. You know, a lot of the footage, because Chic play these huge stages, you know, Rich is off to the side, and the camera's often, you know, when they're focused on Niall or the girls or the, you know, Jerry on the bass, and, you know, Rich is often cropped out. And I know what it's like to be cropped out in the pop dungeon. I'd always be playing on the you know, as we're looking out at the stage on the left hand side, and like people's photographs, the sizes of the stage, I would often, you know, be missing, as some of the backing singers would be too, to be fair. But anyway, not that we do it for that at all, of course. But yeah, to be able to see Rich playing properly, you know, I think is going to be a real treat. So yeah, really exciting. Hey, Tom from Synth Anatomy. So Tom, last Monday, well, I should say not last Monday, a week last Monday, we had a little soiree in Vienna, and Tom came and joined us, and it was amazing to see Tom there. So thank you, Tom. Thanks for coming to join us, and lovely to see you here tonight. Hey, I'm enjoying this. This show wasn't what it was meant to be, but now we're here. We're having a party. It's all cool. Really great news that Synth East is going to happen again. This is Robin Vincent's event. That had his inaugural event this year. I was there, and I've been invited back. I must have behaved enough for next year's one. I think the dates, let me just check, is it March the 23rd next year? So March 23rd, 24th. So the Friday, I think it may be spanning across a couple of days now, but or events but I'm pretty sure that's going to be in the same place. Let me just double check. Hello, dub. Let's have a look. Andrew Brooks says, "Lucky you, I've not been invited back." Right, I'm just trying to get the Synth East. So I'll just have a look at Robin. Here we go. Yeah. Friday the 23rd and Saturday the 24th of February, I'm afraid. Sorry, I said March. 23rd and 24th of February, Norwich Arts Centre. Okay. And so syntheast.com is the website to find out more. I would say, and Andrew will completely back me up on this, but and any of you who were there, Synth East was a terrific event, and If you're not that familiar with the UK, Norwich is as far east really as you can go. And to get to Norwich, um, it's not like there's a whole load of cities and then you come to Norwich. There's like no cities for miles and miles and miles. You just got to drive a long, long way to get to Norwich. Um, and it's a beautiful place. Norwich, it's really gorgeous place. So, um, and the event Synth takes place in the Arts Centre, which is like an old sort of church. Beautiful, beautiful place. So for that to be happening again, absolutely brilliant news. So 23rd and 24th of February next year. So yeah, so wow, in Britain then we're getting quite spoilt. We're starting to get more and more events happening, which is great. As mentioned earlier, we've got a bunch of things happening. 30th, well, I'm playing with Steve Davis, 27th September in the Servant Jazz Quarters in London with John Biddulph. 27th of September, 30th of September is Machina Bristronica. Now, if you're going to be looking out for Bristronica stuff online, I think Sonic are going to be covering stuff there. I'm actually hosting the discussion stages. So I'm going to be running that stage alongside Hamish from Elevator Sound throughout the day. So if you do come to the event, make sure you come and see the discussions. There are some absolutely fantastic guests who are coming to take part in that. So this is the Bristronica event on the 30th of September. Tickets, I think, may still be available, but you will have to act quickly because it is on the sellout level. And then the following week, the 7th of October, is Synth Fest in Sheffield. And that's, getting quite established now. This must be at least the 6th or 7th, I would have thought. And it's a bit more of bit more traditional in a way, but lots of good stuff happens there as well. So yeah, really cool. So I'll be there with Sonic State actually at Synth Fest. I'm sorry you've heard all this before, those of you who joined the stream earlier, but I'm just going to repeat this. But then 12th of October, I'm going to be performing at Expert Sleepers event in Edinburgh. It's called Wavetable on the Thursday, the 12th. And then hopefully I will announce it soon. I'm going to be doing something in Glasgow, with any luck, on the 14th of October. So yeah, so plenty of things going on in our community that I'll be there. And speaking of our community, I went last Friday to the Sonic State event, the latest EMOM, which I'm sure many of you will have seen either live or subsequently the footage afterwards. They did an amazing job, Sonic, I think, with incorporating all those interviews and then the live streams. And I thought that maybe this has been the best one in terms of a consistent quality of music. I think the performers were amazing. Jim Glue, wow, he was flipping amazing. I battery operated orchestra, boo, know them well, seen them on a bunch of times. So and the same with Finley as well. I've done numerous gigs with Finley, watched Finley play. So those guys were cast iron brilliant, but but it was the people who I hadn't seen that was nice. So like Jim, who's obviously a big part of our community, organizing his events in Dubrek, in Derby, his EMOM as well. And but I thought he put on a really great, confident performance. Really enjoyed it. Gosh, I'd need to reference some of the names, but really, just generally, I thought it was a very good show. Right. Wagyu said we were waiting for the 360 footage to be processed so you could see me moshing at the Sonic State EMOM. Yeah. Andrew Brooks, please come to the Derby EMOM at Dubrek. We'd love to see you there. I actually did talk to Jim about doing that, so I am going to do that at some point, and I'd love to do that. God, you see, I am a performer when it comes to it, and although I've been tentative regarding electronic music because being a bass player, blah blah blah, now I just want to do it all the time, play live electronic music. but for those of you who've been following my live rig, just making little iterative adjustments, the most recent adjustment to my live rig is so super boring, but I took out the Endorphins Golden Master, which is like based on the TC finalizer. That was quite nice having that there, but I've switched it out for a Jor analog output module with just two XLRs, and it's one of those things. Turn up at a gig, present front of house with two XLRs, and they're your friend. Then I know what it's like. I know what that world is like. Balanced XLRs. There we go. Jobs are good, and sound guy super pleased. All is well. So yeah, so bringing out a module that had quite a lot of functionality to essentially one that just does this most crucial of jobs. One other thing that's nice about that is it's got a headphone socket on it, so I can turn front of house off and still listen headphones, and then bring front of house in. Which is kind of super basic, but I actually didn't have that the way I had my modular set up. Anyway, that's not the most thrilling stuff, but it's to do with the journey and to do with getting more experience out of things, and because before, let's just compare what I had. Let me grab an example of each. Yeah, it's that thing. XLR versus the mini jack, like XLR versus mini jack. At home, I'm kind of really glad about the mini jack now, especially with modular, because imagine the size of modular if it was all XLRs. Talk about Moog unit 5U. I don't know, we'd have to have like, I don't know, 10U. Yeah, however many. Yeah. Wonder if anyone's ever done it though, made an XLR modular. It'd be very silly if they did. It would be absolutely gigantic. Yeah. Oh, another coach is saying about playing it at the Derby would be good, but also should try the Stoke EMOM as well. Oh, I do. I want to go on tour of UK EMOMs. Yeah. Well, if you are, please get in touch. If you do put on events, I really like it. I really enjoyed taking part in Breeze Block Beats in Froome. There's a really good scene down there. That was really nice. Also, the Bristol one, which is called We All Play Synths. The Sonic State one. So yeah, I'd be up for playing more. I'm gonna take part in the BMO event in October as well. I think that's not quite confirmed, but it's penciled in. So the BMO, the Birmingham Modular Organization, I'm not sure. BMO, they do monthly events. So yeah, getting around a little bit with this kind of stuff. But I think, like, I've gone on at length to a lot of you, bless you, about this modular stuff. But yeah, it's it. The more I do it, the more the more kind of focus I've been getting, and a big part of that is not changing too many things in my live rig, so I can rely on strategies. And a few weeks back I did a live stream, I was talking about evolving the Mars mammal, and that kind of thinking and development is something that I've just gone much further down that line. So I'm trying to, and I think you can only do that to a certain degree is if you're not changing stuff around very much, and that you kind of fix, almost glue them in place. I have heard of people doing that, gluing modules in to kind of stop them switching them out. But On that note, though, have you seen Geert Bevan, the great Geert Bevan? Amazing, the man who brought my rubbishy idea into reality. No, it's not rubbish. The cable portals, the cable sausage, or whatever you want to call it. Where? Da-da! So, Geert's latest development is called rack blocks, and it's I think it's going to be something that you can just 3D print yourself, and essentially it creates. You say how many HP it is, the width in a Eurorack module, and then it creates like an individual case for it. But then they've got special clips on, so you can clip them together. So essentially, when you buy your module, you print a case for it, whatever HP it is, and then it lives in this case. And then, so when you want to put together your modules, you just clip them together, the different ones. It's a genius idea. It's really good. And testament to that man's incredible brain. He has been on the show, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with him. But I think his contributions to trying to make expressive music in whatever way more possible is totally admirable, as is his amazing engineering nous to turn cable portals into reality. I use them all the time, cable portals, by the way. I know the much maligned cable portal, but yeah. So yeah, actually, while we're on it, let's just keep with a bit of music tech news. The new Yamaha finger drum machine. I should really be able to pull some pictures in here, shouldn't I? But Yamaha have just released a couple of units. There's a white one and a black one. The white one is the cheaper one. I think it's about £100 less than, I think it's about 170, £180. And then they do the more, the more feature rich one for about £280. And basically, they're like little drum machines that it's all about the finger, all about the layout for the fingers, and they're sensitive and laid out to be really ergonomic. So, we're so used to seeing things that have got the 16 grid on there. These are shaped more like, in a way, like space bars and, well, not really space bars. I wasn't planning to do this tonight with a stream, so that's my excuse. Maybe in future, I'm going to figure out a system where I can just, as I'm talking about something, ping up the images. But yeah, these, yeah, Wagyu is saying, boo, no MIDI DIN jack, it's USB only. I'm totally with you on that one. I thought, especially with the move to mini jack to MIDI, I think that's a real shame. What they are, though, I mean, it's got a built-in speaker. It's got however many drum kits. I think around 40 drum kits. The idea is that you can play it to some degree of virtuosity as a finger drummer, and with a little built-in speaker and built-in kits, I can imagine that. And I think it's got a rechargeable battery built in, so this idea, you can just take it and sit on the couch and just play some nice beats. It's also, I'm talking about the more expensive one now. It's got an SD card, no, USB slot, I think. So you can put a USB stick into it, and then you can record. Your performances, and you can load in off the maybe it is SD card. I'd have to check, but you can load in loops or backing tracks to play along to, and you can assign them to some buttons along the top, so you could fire something on, play along with it. I think it's interesting. I talked to Florian earlier about it, and he's a bit so I need to try it out for myself. But the idea of it, I'm quite taken with. The missing MIDI DIN, or mini jack in or whatever, is super big shame, because it's just every time you see that, you just know if you want to integrate it with your gear, it's a pain, it's an annoyance. So there's definite down marks on that. But for something like that, for it to work is going to be on how sensitive and how comfortable it is to play. There's some excellent examples on the Yamaha channel of some people who are really good at it, but beware, there's a few videos on the Yamaha official one that's really not very good. So if you are going to look at any of them, bear in mind you might pick the rubbish ones first, but some of them are, you go, whoa, okay, you could be brilliant. You could get to a really good virtuosic sort of level with it. And you know, I think it's quite nice that uh, I think it's just quite nice that that they're making products like that. You know, it's semi-pro, isn't it? It's not. I guess they would argue the lack of MIDI, or everyone's going to just use it with USB. If you do use it with USB, it can become like a control surface, and you can use it to play your Contact or Groove Agent, you know, or multi-sample computer-based drum libraries, battery or whatever. But it's also got the built-in kits. So the white one, the cheaper one, because it's got no display. I think Florian says it talks to you. Like there's a Japanese sort of voice, lady's voice that will tell you things about what the settings are set to. So yeah, that's not going to get annoying quickly. But the one that's I think that might be called a 30, and it's the one that's a 50, the one that's about £279. That's the one I think I'd be interested in. So yeah, when they start turning up, I'm definitely going to check them out. I'd like to get my hands on one, because I think it's, for so many people, they would love to have a drum kit but just can't for a multitude of reasons. So to have this fantasy finger drum kit, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, what else is news? I think something that was quite cool that caught my eye is that Roland have just released ACB versions of the CR. Which CR? I mean, I'm sure you'll have all seen this news, but the TR8S and the TR6S, they've been out a while now, and Roland have now chosen to release CR78. Of course, it's a CR78. You know, as a free expansion. So if you've got one of those drum machines, I think what makes it special and why it's interesting is that they're ACB versions of them. And what I'm talking about there is Roland have these technologies, you know, COSM for a long time, composite object system modeling, and their AIRD, which is their, what's that, advanced impulse, blah 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 acronym stuff. But ACB, it's something circuit behavior, acoustic circuit, analog circuit behavior, I think is what it stands for. So those drum sounds are being created by a completely modeled circuit thing, as opposed to it being just, I don't know, either sample based or modeled in other ways. So that feels like a really nice thing to have to wake up if you're. I've not got one, sadly, but I was a bit like, oh, what a nice thing. What a nice thing to have. So well done, Roland, for doing that to it's getting on a little bit, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the TR8S is the best drum machine Roland have ever made. Ooh, yeah, better than the 808 and the 909. Although, yeah, or the 606. Only better than them just because it's just so much more versatile. But it sounds really, really good. But those ACB models definitely are the ones. Synthetic saying old TR8 is cool with a scatter. Yeah, the scatter is really good. Let me see what's being said. I'm going to finish pretty soon because this was only meant to be a little kind of apology, really, for a change of plan. But thanks so much for sticking around. Harry Turner Project says he did look at the TR8S, but ended up going for the Poly N Play. Okay, interesting. TR8S has scatter too, just in a different place. And the scatter stuff. So the scatter stuff, I'm familiar with it mostly from two places. The 505 looper has like some sort of scattery kind of effect, but more so the MC 707 groove box, which has got, I think, a really sophisticated implementation of the scatter stuff, But that, yeah, because that scatter stuff in the first wave of the IRA, scatter seemed to be just like a de-rigger thing. D-beam may have gone, but scatter. But really, scatter is an amazing modern thing that we want our electronic gizmos to be able to scatter sound around, splitting it up rhythmically or moving it around in the stereo positions as well. Scatter. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. A little ode to scatter. Okay. I think I'm going to be finishing pretty soon. Sorry, I should need to catch up with some chat. The System 1 has scatter too, but only on the keyboard version and not the System 1M. I still really like that keyboard version with those really shallow keys. I love those shallow keys. I thought they were really good. I know most people hate them, but I think the System 1 and to that extent the System 8, in fact the System 8 even more so, is a bit of a future classic. And I know everyone's got a bit of a thing for the kind of green LEDs. It kind of makes it just really recognizable from a distance as well. You see that green glow. Yeah. Hey, Robin, you got a dash. Nice to see you, man. Yeah. Okay. Half god, half beast. He likes the green. Okay. Harry Turner, it may end up like the Korg Radius. Yeah. I mean, God, those times, those rare glimpses of the Korg Radius in public, it's like, ooh. And of course, the Radius had that interesting thing that you could load on you could put the M3 on there, the kind of, the long-awaited sequel to the M1. I know we've gone through those other iterations, but also with the Radius, you could have them both on that kind of strange minimalist. Yeah, the casing. Yeah, that's. I'm glad I've forgotten all about them actually. Wagyu says that the green LEDs that get inside his head, and he started associating it with the Alien poster with the weird green glow coming from out of the egg. That looks nothing like the egg in the film. Yeah, that's true. It doesn't, does it? Yeah. So, a big apologies for everyone for the beginning of this show. I'm gonna get a stream service. I've had enough of doing freebie things. I'm gonna go pro. It's too much stress. It's too flaky. So I don't want to do it to you anymore. My lovely, lovely friends and audience. I love it when you come and join me on my show. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. So I'm going to sign off now. It was just a little chat, really, talking about what I've got coming up. So yeah, pretty busy the next month. So I'm not sure just how much kind of stream time or content I'll be putting out. But needless to say, though, there will be stuff coming. Today's show was meant to have Geert Pricks and Florian Pills. That show will happen. We're just going to reschedule it. It might have to be at a different time just to fit in with Geert, just really because it's kind of clashing with his the way he performs and stuff. So we really like to get him on the show or a pre-record, but I think live would be my preference, really. And also to get Florian back on the show, he always excellent value for, well, guest, brilliant. If you haven't seen it already, then that on the Bad Gear on Audio Pills, the eBoard Museum visit last week. Wow, blew my mind. Anyway, that's for another stream. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me, though, and please like this ramble if you'd be so kind. I think, again, I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to do that, but thanks, and thanks for the hey, Jim Glue. Nice to see you, mate. Mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were in the chat, though, terrific performance last Friday at the Sonic event. So that's online. Yeah, and if you haven't seen that, ladies and gentlemen, and please consider watching that show, that Sonic State show, the live stream, the EMOM that Jim took part in, and Finley and Boo. Terrific. Really, 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 really high quality stuff. Okay. Big love, everyone. I'm out of here. Thanks a lot.